the various mentions of the philosophies seems that Katha belongs to the time which at that time these philosophies were not differentiated. Some such, that's a good conclusion. She has very good given very good thought and also derived certain conclusions. But then the content is the same, references are the same. I have some other conclusions to draw. And in order to savor those, first thing which I want to say is that what I have not done in this paper, these are my limitations or this is not my interest. I have not touched philosophy at all, metaphysics at all. All the metaphysics except Charvaka, accept similar presuppositions, similar things, realization of the Atman, then call it by the name Brahman or Jiva or Purusha, whatever it is. But realization of the Atman has been accepted by all the philosophies. So, but then these philosophies, they have their own what you call concept of reality. And the very interesting thing all philosophies accept is that this reality cannot be realized through intellect. This has been accepted by all the philosophies. And unless this reality is realized, there will be no what you call realization or moksha at all. And that's the reason why all the philosophies accept certain presuppositions. And the presuppositions can be, what I have done is that after surveying both the literature, that is the Katha Upanishad and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the title of my paper is what you call Katha Upanishad and Patanjali Yoga Sutra, a study in comparison. I am going to draw the comparisons and not differences. After surveying the material, I have reclassified those materials under certain headings. And those headings only I will share. I will not go into detail. All this is supplementary to view as a text, supporting text. But my reshuffling, reclassification, and then what you call drawing certain other conclusions, there I stand different, but then text is. So the data which is given here just now has been reclassified under say some 4 headings. Of course, 5th heading is conclusion. And first heading is abstract, that is not the number, but then apart from that there are 4 headings under which this data has been reclassified. First is that there are 3 presuppositions in Katha and also in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The 3 propositions, these 3 presuppositions are common in entire philosophy except Charvaka. The first presupposition is that there is one saying that it is good to live, better to die, best not to be born at all. This is the theme of Katha. See, live in such a life that you will not be born again and again and again. So, the first presupposition is that a man who dies without realizing the self goes on taking birth, is subjected to transmigration, and there are number of what you call samsaram adhigacchati and so on and so there are number of supporting this. But then for that purpose, for the sake of why man goes on, I mean according to this Indian philosophy, according to yoga, according to Hindu philosophy and so on, man if dies before realization of the self is subject to cycle, and and he lives the life of ignorance. The cause is ignorance again, and one must have the knowledge of the self, and for the sake of realization, and in order to have the realization, there is a what you call method. So these three propositions are common in all the philosophies, and these are three propositions from Katha, and same propositions are also found in what you call yoga, the klesha mula karmashaya, and so on and so forth. They go to show that the theory of rebirth and klesha being at the base of transmigration and so on, and then avidya abhava, sanyoga bhavat, avidya bhavat, with sanyoga bhava and so on. All these conclusions, presuppositions are same. This one point goes to show that there is a similarity between these two texts. Okay, one thing. Another heading under which I classified these is that the very term Upanishad and Yoga are similar. Upanishad, if it means sitting near, and what will be the best sense of sitting near? Sitting in oneself. And if we also take the three meanings of Upanishad, that is the Sada, that is the Prapti, Gati and same, but Prapti, Avsadan and Vicharan, they also go to show that destruction of the ignorance, leading to the loosening Avsada of the Bandhana, and thereby Gati, Prapti of the self-realization. So there also on this basis, the term Upanishad means yoga. They are not two different things. They are synonymous. So that is one thing. And another thing is that the synonymity or similarity between these two texts has been worked out from another point of view also. While teaching Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it was very difficult for me to make the concept of Vairagya clear. Drashta Anusharik Vishay Vitrishna. That Vishay Vitrishna, that is the desirelessness towards the Vishyas. It was, but then when I found that there is one episode and there is one metaphor in Katha, and that Nachiketa's story is the example of nothing but Vairagya. So from that point of also, the point which I want to say is that there are certain passages which help us as the commentary on some of the sutras of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So there is this what you call Nachiketa episode is there, or then Ratha metaphor also is there. By these two, from Patanjali, the concept of Vairagya or practice of Vairagya and Pratyahara can be very beautifully explained. These two serve as the commentary on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So this is one another point. Then the same material has been also further reclassified under another heading, and that fourth heading is that constituents of Katha Yoga. Katha Yoga, and under that I have again reclassified this under subheadings. That what is Katha Yoga, and there are different synonyms of this Katha Yoga, and she has also rightly pointed out Adhyatma Yoga, Yoga Vidhi, and so on and so forth. And according to, if we ask the question, what is the nature of Katha Yoga, just as Patanjali's yoga is Yoga Chittavritti Nirodha, same 100% synonymity is there between what you call yoga of Katha and Patanjali's yoga, on the basis of there are number of what you call slokas, verses, but then I will not go into these verses. These steadiness of the indriyas, steadiness of the mind, and steadiness of the buddhi, all these go to show that what Katha Yoga amounts is nothing but Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. What Patanjali is saying as Chitta Vritti Nirodha, similar concept is there, which is exemplified through the metaphor of, say, Ratha and Panchavastisthanti and Buddhina Vichistate and so on and so forth. In nutshell, if you ask me what is the definition of Katha Yoga, it is nothing but Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. It is in this way, there is also similarity. And then in the aim also, na samsaram adhigachanti, if it is not realized, the opposite of is that param padam apnoti, the ultimate through. What is the aim of yoga? Aim of yoga is attainment of Brahman, or the same thing, attainment of Parampada, or not being subjected to death again and again. All these are synonymous, and these are the aims of yoga. But then there is another very important dimension or important subject which has been explained in Katha, that who is adhikari and who is not adhikari for yoga. A long list has been given. I share some of the characteristics. Such a discussion of who is eligible and who is not eligible, such a list also is given in Patanjali, but in a different way. But if we read both these lists or both these texts together, each text will illuminate the other text. That is the, it is in this way, our understanding of yoga will be enhanced by these two texts. And some of the characteristics about this, who is eligible, and she has referred in that, but then I just mention one or two. For example, yes, non-desisted from bad conduct, that is duscharita, avirata, ashanta, restless, and then uncomposed, mind not at still and free from anxiety, ashanta manaso. These are the characteristics which are said to be that if they are there in sadhaka will not be eligible for getting the ultimate aim. And this is the negative qualities, but positive qualities also are given. I will not go to that. But then what I want to share is that Patanjali also has given various such requirements, that is positive qualities. For example, Shraddha, Veer, Smriti, Samadhi. These are the positive requirements which a sadhaka should have. And besides that, Patanjali also recommends a particular attitude to be adopted, that is Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upekshanam. This is one. And also Patanjali not only gives the list of non-conducive characteristics, but he also gives a way out for coming out of those or overcoming those qualities, and the practices are that what you call Kriya Yoga. And here I would like to say that of course this my conclusion is opposite maybe to her conclusion or other conclusions. Here what I want to say is that though there is lot of similarity between these two texts, but then there are certain practices which are not expressly or explicitly either mentioned or discussed in Katha, which are being discussed in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. For example, there is reference or some very, very subtle what you call implication that the dharana and dhyana may be there, but if you want what you call more detailed practice of Katha Yoga, some of the practices that are not found in Katha Yoga are found in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and that's the reason why Patanjali Yoga though gets benefited by the episodes and metaphors this Ratha metaphor or Nachiket metaphor for the explanation of some of the concepts, but in turn, Katha also is what you call benefited by the detail, some of the details practices which are not found in it but explained in detail in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And this goes to show that there is one word in the very beginning, Atha Yoganushasana. This Anushasana goes to show that Patanjali is not the creator but he is giving the systematic account. It means that from where in Patanjali Yoga Sutra those practices have come which have not reflected in detail in Katha. It means that Patanjali has read besides Katha Yoga, Katha Upanishad, many other Upanishads. And so a topic for research comes that what is that relevant literature prior to Patanjali which has gone into the formation of Yoga Sutras. Such a study will be very interesting one. And in that direction, I have done a little work only to study the Katha, but then other Upanishads must also be studied in order to show. But then the beauty of Patanjali Yoga Sutra that it is because that Patanjali has studied not only Katha but other relevant literature, and that is the reason why Patanjali Yoga has become a classical complete text on yoga. And another beauty of Patanjali, because of this exhaustive study of the earlier literature prior to him, is that he has also given so many options. Ultimately, he says that you practice yathabhimat dhyanadva. You practice so many alternative practices are given. Abhyas Vairagya is given, Ishwar Parindhana is given, Manasa Sthiti Nibandhini techniques are given, and then he says that you choose whichever is useful to you. This makes the Patanjali Yoga, the applicability of the Patanjali Yoga, it makes more widen. Its horizon of the applicability gets widened, and that is the beauty, and that's the reason why Patanjali is not, though he is influenced by Katha Upanishad, but he has also incorporated so many other influences, and which give the text authentic classical yoga text. And that's the reason why I am not worried about the different philosophies, Vedanta, this and that. So I have not even touched Samkhya. But the thing is that all philosophies, insofar as aim at what you call moksha, for that purpose, some technique, some method is required, and that is the method which is given in Patanjali. And this is what is my contention.